Did you have any questions before I depart?
Not really. I don't think so.
Yeah, that's cool.
Wait, actually, do you still have the tier list you made for Bennett Reliance?
The one today,
Yeah.
I'll probably have to get it from a void. I think I just wiped it
Because
when I
I'm kind of
was.
down. I'm kind of curious.
Has anyone got the? Actually, I can probably just put on my thing, and we'll see if we have the same. Okay, so what you should do is, so don't look at my screen. Just quickly do yours, I guess, and then see if we align.
Okay, sure.
Um, so like without oh fuck, mute that. So I guess without like interference from what I did, we can see if it's somewhat similar.
Okay. Sure. Hmm. So just carries?
I kind of just I think I just did like just 5-star DPSs, yeah. I think I
Oh.
chucked in I chucked in like Xiangling and Garming as well just because might as well. But yeah, mostly 5 stars just because I'm not trying to do a whole theology or whatever on the whole
Hmm.
roster.
Yeah, I can look at the 5-star
Uh,
carries. Um. Bennett Pog. Uh. Bennett. Okay. Bennett viable. No. Okay. The Luke. I don't know about the Luke. Like, I guess it's not used Bennett don't have questions. Like in Shenyan teams, you can play double Hydro, and in non-Shenyan teams, the Luke fucking sucks, so you'd rather
but
play
I guess
double Hydro.
before you do more, I
Mm-hmm.
guess we should probably do the same sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
which is that my chat wanted me to like do like the like it's kind of subjective, but it's the closest you're gonna get to some sort of objectivity.
Mm-hmm.
But just if you're talking about optimal teams, right? So don't I guess I don't do like oh you could do this and that.
Yeah, but I think
Let me
like there are a lot of situations where it's not really better to play Bennett in the Luke teams.
okay.
Um, Lee. I don't know how good Cleburgeon is. I'm not a believer in it. I'm gonna put her
It's
here.
about it's one of the best Virgin teams, but then again, it's still
Okay.
Virgin. Just the context there. Let me go
I mean,
on.
Freeze Ganyu is like, whatever. Ganyu Hyper Fridge is better than Melt Ganyu anyway. So
So this is my one, I guess.
Something you wish to
I'm not
report?
sure about
Go
Hutao.
on. You have my undivided
Yeah,
attention.
so for Hu Tao, like I said, it depends on like the context. Are you talking about
Yeah,
ah,
I'll put her
like
in Bennett Pog. C6 Mika isn't real. No one has C6 Mika. So like, eh, let's put her here. Ayaka.
okay, so chat. So this one's mine. So if I have it, this is a screenshot. So if you have adjustments, I'll probably just have to go back into the tier thing and just copy it. I guess I could do it now actually. So I'll do that whilst he's doing his ones.
I've just did something I know you're gonna disagree with, but I don't care. I'm actually not sure about Yai. I feel like the
You have to use the force, follow your heart.
I'm gonna go with no then. I'm a huge believer in Yai is actually pretty good with Chevaliers, but if you're using Bennett in that team, you're running it down. Hayato.
Hello, welcome to the stream.
Adi.
Staring into my eyes is ill-advised. I can't promise you'll like what you see.
Does Nilo count as a carry?
It depends if you're doing. Yeah, she does, but I mean, I'm assuming we're doing like C0 stuff.
Yeah. Does Daya count as a carry?
Yeah, she's got enjoyers. But they don't have to because she's a standard banner, I guess.
The thing about Daya is like, when it comes to her damage, she would be like, you have to use Bennett, but she's so bad that you're kind of just better off pretending like she's just like there to fit your team's aesthetic and putting off-field damage dealers instead. Aware.
Oh, let me change this text actually. Let me meme it a bit.
Am I missing anyone? Chat. Did I forget anyone?
What are they up to? Never mind.
Good
Let them
saying.
do as they please.
She's not limited, but I guess we can do good saying as well.
Yeah, I did her as well.
All right, I think I'm done.
1 second, I'm still copying.
Oh, Jamie said
mine
do gumming.
over.
Okay, I can do gumming as well.
There's also some characters that I don't really play and also don't really care about, so I just didn't bother doing them. Well, it won't make a difference in the grand scheme, but like someone like Ito, I honestly don't really care. Sad.
Shang Ling, I can do Shang Ling. I mean, I guess I can go through it and look at like the sort of characters that you consider as carries in the four
Okay,
stars.
so yeah, let me know when you're done. I'm done.
I'm basically done already. All right. So, what now? Like, how are we doing this?
I can't look at both mine and yours at the same. Oh God, how do I do that? Okay, I'll look at yours and you look at mine.
Yeah,
Pause.
sure.
How do I do that?
Can I just go back in your vault to find it?
No, I actually just redid it on my screen now.
Oh, okay.
Wait, hold on. Then how do you see it? Oh shit. Oh God. What do I do, guys? How do I look at his list?
Go on. You have my undivided attention.
Oh, I screenshot mine and then
Why is this?
I didn't realize how scuffed this was gonna be. Okay, I'll screenshot mine. And then oh, this is stupid. I can just bounce between yours and mine, right? That's
Yeah,
seems
I have
like the
both
obvious
open.
solution. Yeah, sorry, I had a brain fade. It took me a while to figure out what the optimal strat for this was. Okay. So let me see yours. Oh, you have Bennett first?
Yeah. You can't use Bennett without
Oh,
Bennett. It's literally impossible. The only character that can't be played without Bennett. Wait,
oh,
can
you
you
have slightly
screenshot
different.
yours and send it to me so I can open it?
That might be optimal strats. Okay,
Because
let me
you're
do
looking
that.
at my stream, so
I'm gonna loop. Okay, okay, let me do that. Let me.
yeah.
Um. Here we go. I'll send it to you.
All right. I have both open.
Okay, good. So I'm watching your stream. Okay, okay, cool.
Oh wait.
Okay, this is optimal. Okay, first of all, so you have slightly different ratings, I guess. Is it kind of the same? It's kind of different to mine, I guess.
Yeah. Used to be a few differences. I have Neuvillette here because I think Plunge Neuvillette is actually not bad. And, like it is a meme team and it's worse than his other teams, but I don't give a shit. It's still a good enough team.
Don't do it, guys. Don't do it, chat. Okay, let's talk about the serious discussions then. So, yeah, I guess we both kind of, it's very obvious.
I think our
Oh, I
bottom
got an
tier is
ad.
literally the same units. The only difference is Kokomi because I didn't put her in,
I
but
can't
I
see.
would
I
have
got
put her
scammed.
there.
I got an ad on your screen. Oh shit! But I can kind of see it. You got Raiden, Yamiko, Tonori,
And it's literally the
Sayonara.
same units except
Okay.
Kokomi because I didn't put her in. But if
Yeah.
I was to put her in, I'd probably put her in Bennett Viable because of the double Hydro National with Kokomi as driver.
No, don't do that. Are you serious about that?
It's fine.
What is Bennett doing there? He's buffing Xiangling's
Yeah.
damage, but no, it's not a real team, guys. Don't do that one. Wait, who's the last teammate? Are you talking about Sucrose or
I think
Kazuha?
so.
Kokomi, Xingqiu, Xiangling, Bennett.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that? Oh, that's the Farina national team, but with
Yeah.
Kokomi. Yeah, I don't know about that, but
Like it's
um,
not great, but it's pretty good. The really comfy version of National.
comfy version of isn't. I mean, how much more comfort? I mean, I guess replacing Sucrose is a bit more comfortable in terms of like execution, but how much more comfort do you really need in with the
Yeah,
Xingqiu,
I mean that's
Bennett,
fair, but
Xiangling?
it's still a good team. But anyways,
I,
whatever. I don't feel that strongly about it.
okay, yeah, fair enough, I guess. Um, yeah, so child. So you don't. So it's safe to say you're not like a child freeze, child taser, or
No,
whatever.
no. It's funny, but it's not good enough. I think C4 child, sure, but yeah.
Wanderer, you don't. So some people talk about like teams with like
Doesn't have
Mika,
shield,
Farazan.
worthless. Wanderer team without a shield, worthless.
Yeah, it's like I guess it's kind of like an in between sort of thing where you're not playing the most
Children
comfortable team
need
and you're not playing the most damage.
Yeah, it's
never mind.
like I get it, but I would never recommend someone play that team unless they're just trying to, shake things up and want to play a new Wanderer team.
Okay, so your second one, the Bennett Pog, I'm assuming this is the difference between. So I was doing like so my
Hmm.
one was. So what I've got
Basically,
here.
all of my characters in my highest tier are also in your highest tier, but you basically just end your highest tier one tier lower or one tier.
Yeah.
Like
So
I have uh, a line like separating things earlier than you do for the highest tier to second highest tier, basically.
Yeah, I think that's mostly because I've got the context. Like the context title is that like chat agreed maximum DPS gaming. So it's like I
Yeah,
see kind of
I don't like
further
that
lines
because
less.
maximum DPS isn't always best team for a
I mean,
scenario.
it's a bit of a meme title. It's not
Yeah,
too serious, but it gets a point across that I'm trying to look for. Okay, if I want the most stonks damage, does this character use Bennett? Um,
like realistically, I think the biggest. Oh, is yours ordered left to right or not?
no, it was just the chronological order how they appeared.
Mhm. Like realistically, I think the only real difference is Ella that I have a lot lower.
Yeah, so for me, it's just because I know Eula's another like
Hmm.
I guess debatable one where I know that people's like calculations are talking about these new teams with Farina, like I don't know what you call them, but I guess Farina, Mika, stuff
Yeah,
like
the thing
that.
is, Mika is actually good in Ella teams, but no one has Mika C6.
Well, it's not only that; it's also that you have to assume that you're actually staying on Eula for the full buff in order to
Mm,
actually get his buffs, and a lot of the time, um, yeah, I mean, if you switch out early, she's doing no
aware.
damage.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are still using Eula's old team, which is like Eula, Raiden, Rosaria, and Bennett.
Staring
And
into
even
my
if you do
eyes
have
is
different teams, a lot of time
ill-advised.
you still play
I
Bennett.
can't promise you'll like what you
Yeah, I
see.
mean, that's fair.
Like I think I don't know how they managed to get Mika wrong, but they just did. Like
Yeah.
he was supposed to be like a Farazan or like a
Yeah, aware.
Goro. He had the crit damage
This is
C6. He has like
fine.
a ton of.
I don't want
He
to
has the
talk about
overloaded kit, but he was overloaded in the wrong areas.
it. Yeah.
And then and also,
Aware.
so I had a stream talking about this before. So if you look at Baiju's, you know how Baiju's buff thing has like a 4 second duration or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Was it five? I think it's four. So it makes it last off field. It allows you to switch between characters, and you can
Mm-hmm.
kind of get buffs on more than one enemy. So all they had to, and I think he came out the patch after Mika.
Yeah,
So
all they
all
had
they
to do
had
was
to
to give that to Mika.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah.
two different developers, and all he had to do was have that thing that they
To be
did the
fair,
next
though,
patch.
like, when we actually get a good physical carry, Mika's going to be played with them.
Yula is pretty good though. I mean, I've always said this. The reason why people think physical is bad, I mean, you might think it's coping, is because physical. We don't have physical sub DPSs and physical supports. We're using makeshift supports in physical teams. Like
Yeah.
imagine, like my comparison is imagine like a hypercarry Nuvilet team, but instead of playing like the optimal Farina, Kazuha, maybe say for example like Zhongli or whatever, instead of having those characters who actually fit in the teams, you're having to use like a makeshift VV character, a makeshift Hydro,
Yeah.
like maybe using like Barbara, Lynette, and so like so we don't have the real, we don't even have a physical sub DPS. So we have to
That's fair,
just use
but
Bizarre.
also, even just as a physical carry, it was just not all that good.
I mean, I don't think she's the most insane perfect physical, but I think
Like,
it
for a character that forces you to extend rotations, that has this much field time requirement, she just doesn't do enough to justify it.
But imagine if Raiden, okay, think about this here. So Raiden's like our best teammate, and it literally uses a tenth of what Raiden's actual kit does. It's pathetic. All she does is apply Electro. She carries Favonius Lance, she carries Tenacity, and she gives the burst buff. And that uses less of her kit than Hyperbloom teams do, which is like pathetic. Imagine if there was like a
Wait,
physical
what
sub
team are you talking
DPS,
about?
Raiden Eula.
Oh, yeah.
So Raiden's her best Electro support.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it uses less of Raiden's kit than Hyperbloom teams use Raiden's kit, which is basically almost barely barely anything in her kit as well.
Mm.
So imagine if there was a character that it's not even hard to imagine because
Let them do as they please.
Raiden
Yeah,
doesn't even get
sure.
utilized
Like,
properly. That Does the same thing Raiden does, but she does like 200k DPR or something. People's perception, even just that one character, which is not even
But that wouldn't be
unreasonable.
enough to make the team good. Like, it made the team
Yeah, but
better, but it still
that's just
wouldn't be
one
good.
character. That's just one character. Though. There's also like the other two slots. I mean, you could get like the you can get a real Mika that done right would be a big difference as well. Also a cryo sub. I mean,
I mean, sure, if
there
they
is
want to make it look good, they could just release Xianyun for physical, Farazan for physical, and like Farina for physical, and you to have Xiao but physical. But like, I think it's a lot more likely that they just release a real physical carry.
I don't know. I think people's perceptions of Yulip would be very different if we actually had synergistic physical characters.
Yeah, that's fair.
But they basically haven't tried. They haven't tried apart from Mika, and Mika
But like,
was
even
a
then, like,
failure.
I mean, that's kind of just very similar.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's hypothetical at that point. I have to see how they would all fare. You could even Razor probably would be good. Like Zhongli on field would be good. Oh, hard to say, but I think physical overall. Yeah, it's just I don't think a lot of people realize how held back it is by the amount of copium you have to do. Like, there's a lot of too much copium that physical teams have to put in that is nothing to do with the actual DPS. Like even the fact that Rosaria is like the best cryo buffer, and all she
Yeah.
has is like 10 crit rate or whatever, and the C6 which barely does anything, and then you've got Forizon who gives like a shit ton of everything.
I mean, Mika's better than Rosaria as a buffer, like significantly so. But people use
People still
Rosaria
use
because
Rosaria
Ella
though.
sucks so much that Rosaria's damage matters.
No, Rosaria, I don't think her damage contributes that much.
It's not
But
that much, but your team DPS is low enough that it's enough to make her better than Mika in some situations.
it's that I think it's more that like you've already got Bennett as a healer, so then anyway, it main issue with Mika is that you can't swap out of Eula.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I guess I like Eula. I'm a Eula. Okay, not a full-on enjoyer.
A Coper.
I'm
Yeah.
a Eula. I'm a
A
Eula
Coper. That's fine.
believer.
Sure, if you want to call it that. Is there anything? Do you like with my assumptions? Do you think there's any characters that are in my second tier that should be higher?
There is, but I mean, it depends on how try hard you want to get. Like, if you're talking about Garn Yu, she should be there.
Okay, yeah, Ganyu's
Um,
fair because I was like, yeah, you can play Freeze Ganyu and you can play Hyper Fridge Ganyu and you can play. Is there another one? I forgot. Honestly, it's more so because of Hyper Fridge. I really like Hyper Fridge.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know what team you're talking about.
It's Hyper Bloom with a cryo unit. You get really good freeze up time. It's so chill to play.
But how are you? Who are you normal attacking with, or are you playing
You can play.
off-field? Is that
You can do it with Nahida, or
oh,
you could use a Hytham, I guess.
oh god. Okay. I guess I mean
But like
Bennett.
you can have coexisting, Freeze and Dendro, I believe. Yeah, you can. And Freeze and
Yeah,
Quicken, so you can have
for
like,
me,
but yeah.
yeah, for me, like in terms of optimally, you play Melt Garnier, and then she always uses Bennett. It's basically the same as Linny.
Yeah, like that's fair.
Um,
Like for speedrun stuff for sure. Hyperbridge is not a speedrun team, it's a
I mean, even outside of speed runs, I think like a lot of lower investment accounts are getting dangerously close to probably not even clearing if they're using the Copium Garnier teams.
Hyperfridge is good though.
I'll try it out.
Like you're playing a 3-unit Hyperbloom team where you're also getting basically 100% freeze uptime, which makes it really chill to play.
Have
You can also
tried
play it with
Vay?
Ayaka.
No, we don't do that around this part
It's
of
better with
town.
Ayaka than with Ganyu, but yeah.
Yeah, around this part of town, we don't do that one. I'm sorry.
But yeah,
We,
like
we
it's not a
play,
speedrun team, so I don't think you'll like it that much.
yeah, we play Freeze, and then we play Monocry with Bennett around
Listen,
here.
all I'm saying is I think that for most players, Hyper Fridge Ayaka is better than Freeze Ayaka.
Okay, okay. Um,
Because you have better matchups against the bad matchups for Ayaka, so you can actually play her every Abyss instead of benching her every other Abyss.
have you tried getting good? Is
No,
that a
I'd rather
consideration?
not.
Okay. So D-Luke, I think you said a bit about the D-Luke team. What was your reason for D-Luke again?
The Luke sucks.
Was it double Hydro with Shenyan?
Yeah. Double Hydro Shenyan for the Shenyan teams because it is actually like not that much worse, and you do have like more flexibility for your stuff, and you're not reliant on getting swirls, and like that's kind of cool. Um, and then for like the non-Shenyan stuff, the Luke is so ass that getting a second
What
Hydro
can
is
the
better than getting
children
Bennett.
look up to? Never mind.
Yeah, I guess so. I
Sometimes
mean,
the
for me, I
kids-
mean that would kind of just whenever I played double Hydro, I only played it once, but whenever I played double Hydro plunge, D-Luke is kind of just like a worse Hu Tao.
Yeah, he is for
But
sure.
but if you're playing with Bennett, it's a better Hu Tao. True. It just takes a more difficult setups, I guess, and it's
Yeah.
more tricky. Hu Tao, you put it in Pog. Is that what is that for? Is that just for her team flexibility?
Yeah, yeah, because she has a lot of good teams that don't use Bennett.
Yoimiya as well. I mean, I guess.
Yumiya
Yeah, I
doesn't
guess
have any good teams, but she has a lot of teams that are similar in performance to the Bennett teams that don't use Bennett.
yeah, but you do know that. I mean, I'm sure you do know that the Bennett teams for Yoimiya are probably like her best way of playing her if you want most damage.
Yeah, generally, yeah.
Yeah. Um, Risley, I guess. Yeah, you're probably talking about free stuff. So I would say Arlecchino, Navia, and Garming. Um, actually, honestly, I would probably change my Xiangling to the Raiden section if we're talking about the Raiden teams without Bennett. So I guess I probably would change my
I think
Xiangling down
both like
one.
it was already the case that like Sucrose teams, like Sucrose official teams, right? Like the soup teams with Sucrose were pretty good with Shangling. So she
No, don't say it. Don't say it.
I'm sorry, it's true.
Are you talking about
But
the
with
Sukoko one?
Shovelers, there's even more teams that are not that Bennett reliant. Like Shangling is really good as a
Something you wish to
if you
report?
want to play electro
Well,
carries and
you
that
have
don't
my
work that well with
undivided
Bennett.
attention.
Um, like Shangling is the pyro unit you want in the slot.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that Sukoko team is like the biggest meme
I
that's
don't
got
like
that.
Sugokomon. I like Susing Tomon.
I don't know. I think that team was just terrible, and it was just like someone managed to get a sheet where it looked impressive, and then people just made videos about because it looked impressive in a sheet, and then it spiraled out of control, and then people forgot to actually play it, and then to see how bad it felt, and then once people did
Susing
try
Tomon
it,
feels good to play though, and it is actually good.
what about the Coco Me one
Staring
though?
into my eyes.
I don't love it. I think it is actually a spreadsheet team. It's
Yeah, because I think once people actually tried it and then tried to see how it played, and then realized it felt awful, and then no one played it, but it got a lot of promotion. It
yeah,
like
like
basically got a lot
I've
of
never
paid
been a
promotion.
huge fan of Sugokomon. Like I saw it and I played it actually for a little while on my Taiwan account back when I still played it because I kind of just didn't have great options, and it was fine and it worked, but like yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, it was advertised as a team that saved Kokomi, but yeah, I hated that stuff. I thought it was like terrible. I thought people only thought it was good because of a sheet, but then it actually wasn't even good. Even in the abysses where you could control, like you could do the exact spreadsheet rotation, it still like felt pretty bad.
I mean,
And then when you
I
can't,
saw some impressive runs from like really good players with it, but it wasn't like it wasn't anything all that great, and it was hard to pilot properly. Sometimes that difficulty was like out of your control. Sometimes it just okay, well, you get fucked, and the enemies like decided to be cringe.
yeah, like the whole thing with getting was it what infusion do you have to get on the sucrose's burst? That whole thing there
Yeah.
was complete random that they managed to get it in
And
game.
that's
And
why
then
I actually like the Susaingtomon version. Because, like, you just fucking have infinite Hydro because it's Sainto.
yeah, I guess is that a national team with Fisher replacing Bennett?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Um,
So, like, it's harder to play the National because you don't have a healer, but it's still, it's
I guess it's a fun alternative. I can see it being more fun just because it's a bit more playable than trying to do crazy stuff with Kokomi, but it's probably not still a great team right anyway. Um, you also put Navia lower, and you also put Arlecchino lower,
Yeah.
and Garming lower as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, honestly, Gumming is just such a cringe character to play. And I think the only team with Gumming that doesn't feel like ass to play and that doesn't force me to reset 83 times is Gumming double Hydro Oceanian.
But if he feels cringe to play, how much worse does he feel if you're being cringe and you're also doing no damage?
You're doing good damage with double Hydro though. Like it's actually good.
I don't know. I've never seen it. I can't believe it. I mean, I guess the most cringe one is like the double cryo, like circle impact sort of stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, for me, he's in a similar boat to like Linny and Arlecchino, where you can play different play styles, but without Bennett for these characters, you don't get the you have I guess you don't get the reward. You have the
Eh.
risk, but you don't get the reward.
I mean, the non-Bennett teams kind of remove the risk basically. They do lower the reward as well though. Like I get what you're saying.
Because his main advice, like why I think his plunge is actually pretty good, and I don't like Hu Tao's one, is because obviously there's a lot of like resetting and things that can go out of your way. Like everyone knows that with Garmin is like very like you won't get the results you see it in a YouTube video. He's probably the most extreme character with that. You'll see some insane videos with him, and you probably aren't going to get close to it. But that is his reward, where it's that he can absolutely like nuke an enemy with his burst, with his skill, and he can just constantly do that in the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
And to do that, you kind of just have to go all in on the cringe, and you kind of have to just optimize him as much as you can. I I can see. Obviously, I'm talking in a very try hard sense because obviously some people would just want to have fun with a calming team, but I don't think I'd ever play him without Bennett. I would play him with any other character though. Like I don't need Shenyun, I don't need Farina, but I think he kind of needs Bennett. Oh, this is the team you're talking about?
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't die actually.
Just dodge. Unironically, Genki's like not that hard to dodge once you're used to it.
Yeah, I guess so. I think the thing with I don't know. I think Genki is I guess if you're not dashing around too much to put yourself in the problem of having no stamina,
Yeah.
then they're not hard. I guess. Yeah, I guess so. Maybe the difficulty is a bit overrated. I guess.
It's not that it's like not difficult. It's that I have done it too many times. Yeah, like I'm actually more annoyed by the cryo force aura that makes it really cringe to sing Toei than anything else when I play that team. You have HP
Yeah,
Sands
true.
on channeling. Ah, fuck. Well, whatever. Who cares? Yeah, I do. That shit. It's fine. She didn't get low HP. It didn't save me. It just made my damage worse.
And so your thing with Navia and Arlecchino is probably just because they do have other teams that
Yeah.
exist. But do you think that the other teams are competitive damage-wise?
Depending on the situation. I think in this Abyss, Bennett is going to feel a lot better, because the enemies just all spawn really close to one another. Like, you're never having to carry a rotation into a new wave of enemies that is spawning in a different spot. Like, we have a 4-wave chamber where every single wave spawns in the same spot. You know, like that is Bennett propaganda if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, I mean, they're also good in the other chambers as well. And also just in general for damage for those characters. But obviously, yeah, I mean, they technically do have other options. It's just that we did different comparisons, I guess. Where did you put Raiden?
Yeah, that's the one I knew you were. It's kind of there as a meme, but she's in the bottom tier.
Oh, okay, that's just a meme. But if you weren't memeing, where would you put her? Like in Bennett Park, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got Shao in. Okay, so are you aware? Are you aware of the whole Shao Shenyun thing?
What do you mean by that?
That the real upgrade for Shao was C6 Farazan, and like
Oh yeah,
Shenyun
for sure.
Shenyun Farina is kind of like it's not always actually the best.
Shannon was great because it was a Farazan banner that wasn't Wanderer. Like 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, Shannon does help, and like, especially like for me at my level of investment, the Bennett teams don't have enough DPR to one rotate, whereas the Farina teams do. Like the Shannon Farina teams do.
Okay.
So like with Bennett, I have to start a second rotation, and that's just so cringe. Especially if you kill the enemy at the start of the rotation, with Shao, like your energy gets fucked.
Yeah, but also, well, I was actually thinking about making a video on this, but then there's also like, I guess it's more speedrunning focused, but it's like the setup time differences.
Yeah, like the setup time is obviously like pretty damn long with that team. So when you're looking at like speedrun stuff, it's obviously
when you're killing enemies before a certain amount of plunges, like I was saying before, right? So like, if playing Farina Shenyun has like a 2 or 3 second longer setup than playing Bennett Xiangling or something, if you have like a 1 or 2 plunge head start on the other team, unless you're going like all the way with your plunges, then it won't make up the difference.
The reason why I like
well.
the Shannon team, like the Shannon Farina team more, is because generally, if you're in AoE content, it doesn't matter what Shao team you're gonna play, Shao is gonna clear it. And if you're in single target content, Shannon Farina is a lot more likely to get you to DPR breakpoints that you need.
Yeah, so it depends on the investment. Yeah, but what my video is going to focus on is just because a lot of people thought that like Shao was terrible before, and then now he's like God mode. Like a lot of people say like he's like him and Neuvillette are like the best AoE characters or something like that. Anyway, whatever.
I mean, to be fair, like outside of Neuvillette, I think it's fair to say that Shao is the next best, like dedicated carry for AoE.
But the thing is, he did that before Shenyun came out.
Yeah, but no one had C6 Farazan before Shenyun came out.
A lot of people don't know that there is not. In fact, like at least speed run wise, a lot of people still use Bennett Xiangling over Shen Yun Free in AoE. But it's like the main point is not really the speed on comparison, but just the fact that there's not a huge jump from, unless you get constellations, like if you get like a lot of people are like C2, R1, Shen Yun, stuff like that. But strictly C0 wise, there wasn't some massive gap that saved Shao. Shao, his old teams are even situationally better than the new ones, but it was Farazan C6 that was Farazan, and I guess like Vermilion, that was just like a free 5 to 10% damage. But those buffs came ages ago. It's just that people used to underrate Shao before, I guess.
It's also just that Farazan, you would only really get. I mean, Farazan had only been on Wanderer banners before, so.
Yeah, but if you were a true Shao main, you would
True.
have pulled for C6 Farazan.
Aware.
What were your other characters here? Sorry, I can't see your
I'm
your
opening
list.
it again.
You have Ayato. Okay, that's fine. I've got a question. So Jason asked me this question when I was on his stream. So what do you think Ayato's best team is?
Nilo.
What could the children be up
Oh,
to?
I see.
Never mind. Let them do as they please.
What? that sounded sad.
Yeah, cause I don't know. I guess that the answer was that he doesn't really have a best team. I mean, how good do you think he is in Nulu Bloom, or do you think he's just one of the options?
He's one of the options. I don't think he. Like, I actually do think that there are situations where he's actually good in those teams, but he's never something you need to get.
Yeah, I'd honestly rather play him in like Hyper Bloom stuff than Nulu.
Yeah, I think, like, when you look at his performance versus the competition, his slot is less contested in Hyper Bloom. That's fair.
Yeah, because at least he brings the AoE stuff to the table. Okay, so you put Bennett viable for Al Haytham.
Yep.
So I'm quite surprised with that. So I did. I guess I kind of did that as well. But what was your reason for that?
Bennett is very good.
Okay. Yeah,
That's really all it boils down to. Bennett is good as fuck.
So you've seen like the beneficial spread stuff?
I haven't seen any of it, but I mean, it just makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
Al-Haytham is not a character that has no attack scaling. He has attack scaling. Any character that has attack scaling can benefit from Bennett, and Al-Haytham seems generally have a little bit of flexibility for the last slot.
Yeah, he doesn't have an insane last slot for spread.
Like, same reason why Bennett is a viable option for Ito. Right? It's just... Although a little bit less so now with Chiori, but... Even then...
Okay, then I guess the rest of our stuff is pretty similar then. That's fair enough. There's no real any apart from the meme stuff, there isn't really anything. Seems pretty objective, I guess then. There's not really any debates.
I will stand behind I will stand for Plunge Nevilette until the day I die, though.
Yeah, okay. That's okay. I don't think I would, but yeah, sure.
Unironically, for like single target bosses, it's pretty similar in clear speed to his best teams for me.
Oh, for you, okay.
Like at my level of investment for the weapons I have.
Don't you have the same investment as me though?
Maybe
Don't you have the same as me?
What could the children
Let me
be up
check.
to?
I have C0, and then I use like
Let them do as
Tome
they
or
please.
Widzith.
I use Witsis sometimes, but generally he's on Proto Ember.
I don't even think my artifacts are that insane either. It's like 240 CV. Oh god, I'm gonna get some Pepe Ws, but yeah.
I do not have that 180 CV.
Right, 50 and then 320
I have
and
40
41.
and 180. Oh, 50, 180.
Oh no.
Yeah. Nice little 140 crit damage that you have over me. just a little bit.
Oh, thanks, Hey, for the first time chat. Thanks for that. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's your experience, right? So I guess if it worked out for you, that's cool, I guess. Um, I guess there are some of the previous Abyss blessings that and the layouts that were very favorable towards
But yeah,
plunge.
that's true. That's true. I haven't played it recently.
I actually got a lot of backlash when the Shenyun first came out. Was when because I thought that outside of like a few characters, she was just a gimmick. And at the time, it was a very favorable abyss towards plunge, and there was a lot of the blessings. Everything was like the layout was so you could just keep plunging and not have to move. Enemies that couldn't get staggered. And then I feel like nowadays, the Shenyun hype has dropped off a lot outside of those specific teams. So I feel like I kind of won
Yeah.
in the end.
I mean, I don't know if I'd call it a gimmick necessarily. Like, you look at characters like Kave, right? His best team by a mile is Xianyan. And it's not even close. But that's kind of just because he's ass. Oh, by the way, does Kave has a faster plunge animation than other Claymores? It feels like it, but I don't know if I'm just being delusional.
I don't even have Kave.
Oh.
I think he's the rarest 4-star, isn't he?
Need a hand?
Like, if you want to look at my stream,
Oh, he's got a different animation. Yeah, that could be the case then if the animation is different. It's the same thing with like the Mondstadt sword characters.
Bennett Giga Chad.
Yeah, I know Shenyun can be played in a variety of teams. I was just talking about like optimally. So I was talking about like optimally, like when people were hyping up. Somebody in my chat said that. So when people were like hyping up, oh shit, Shenyun is this broken support that just that is now like the best. Plunge is the best team for like all these different characters, and then I was like,
Like,
I
she's a
disagree.
versatile character that can be played in a decent amount of teams. But in terms of, like, her actually improving characters, that's not the case for a lot of characters, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the hype, people felt that more after the plunge abysses ended, and we got like the current abysses. Obviously, now the current abysses are a bit extreme with like all the anima resistance. That might be a bit extreme, but yeah, I did think she was a bit. I mean, like I said, like I'm personally not a fan of like plunge Hu Tao, but I think she's still really good for like Shao, Diluc, Garming. Although Garming has been pretty sick with a bunch of different teammates anyway.
Kame makes me sad. Sorry, I'm like, I got sidetracked. His animations are so cool. Like, literally all of his animations are so cool. And he's just worthless. Like, why did they do that? What did they mean by this?
I mean, I always had a theory that they have a budget for, say, for example, they release like 10 characters in a year. Like, they actually like try with a few characters. And the others, they intentionally just make them like filler, just for fun characters. Like, they don't even try to
Yeah.
balance them. So when people say like, "Oh, how did they get?" The only one I'm not sure about is Mika, because Mika, it looks like Mika's like a red herring. It looks like
Dude,
they wanted
I
to
feel
make him...
there is no way they made his buff like just barely work with Ella, and like if anything goes wrong, you have to dodge. You just don't get it, and then made it so that if you swap out, which is what a lot of Ella players do, you lose the buff. And like, there is no way they wanted this character to be good, or at least
but
there is no way they wanted this character to be good with Ella.
they still overloaded his kit with buffs. So they still gave him like a ton of attack speed, the
and
physical
he
damage,
will
the
actually
physical
be
crit.
good once we get real physical carries. I am dying on this hill. Now this kid just sucks. They're gonna make better physical carries eventually, and Mika's gonna shine.
I don't know. I feel like people used to say that about Shao, and then there came a support that just like fixed every. Yeah, I mean, people used to say that Shao was supposed to be an AoE character, but he ungroups enemies.
I was always on the Shao hype train, so
he was like an animo character, but none of the animo characters will that would never be any synergies with how animo characters are played. And then they ended up releasing like a character which fixes every single one of his issues. I think that was more extreme. Like Eula doesn't have that many. It's hard to imagine, like, if you list out every single problem that Shao had, Farazan basically does all of those things. Even stuff like having a super long buff duration and having grouping, it's like a joke. Like every single problem you could think of that Shao had, Farazan fixed. Whereas if you try to do that for Eula, it's pretty ridiculous to try and think of, oh, would they actually have a character that would fix this?
yeah, because she has too many problems. Can we get a character that reduces our animation lengths, please? Perhaps.
I mean, but you could have a character which has like energy particles over time, or like they.
Well, yeah, actually, aren't burst animations slower if you're afflicted by cryo? I've heard about that, but I didn't test it.
It is, isn't it? Because when you use like Kazu's burst in Chamber 1, you can try it with Kazu, and you get cryo and uses burst. It takes longer.
Oh fuck! I wanted to dodge the animal attacks and get hit by the cryo, but it didn't work. Hit me! Oh my god.
My turn. Everlasting as the moon.
Yeah, that
for
is
me,
definitely slower. Okay, actually, I think the first time I saw Arlecchino's burst, it was affected by cryo, so I thought it was slower than it was. Like, for the longest time, I had frame counted it, and it was like longer than Zhongli's burst, and I was like, "This is a long ass burst. What the fuck?" And then I heard people say, "Oh no, it's less than that. It's like whatever the actual length is." And I was like, "That's not what I."
It's
counted.
it's still insanely long.
Yeah, it is.
So I actually don't know. I'm
Yeah,
assuming
maybe we get a reverse cryo aura that speeds up burst animations.
No, I mean, for me, I would say the only like genuine like unsolvable issue she has is the whole backloaded thing. But I mean, they could always find a way to solve that, like how you could maybe like some sort of ocean huge clam thing, where it stores up your physical damage and kind of, I don't know. There's always a way. The developers find a way, but I think
like
aside
they
from
could.
that,
It's just we already have the character whose role should be to do that for her if that's what they wanted to do, and Mika's role just wasn't to do that. So I feel like they've given up on her.
I don't know. I don't think anything else in her kit is like objectively scuffed, apart from the burst thing. I think the things that people associate with Eula issues are just physical issues in general, like not being able to use a Grupo, or like superconduct doing no damage, or there being no like sub DPSs or synergies, stuff like that.
I mean, she has really long field time requirements, and her damage looking at her field time requirement, and the fact that she doesn't provide any sort of useful auras or buffs to the rest of the team just isn't enough to make up for it.
No, but that third one is just that can be that's a team issue. That's not a Eula issue.
I mean, even if they release teammates that are good with her, she's still not going to give them buffs.
But she could be like the hyper carry or
Yeah, but like
actually,
her kit
technically-
is like pretty specifically designed as a hyper carry kit, and she doesn't have hyper carry damage.
Isn't that debatable though? I mean, if you take Forizon out of Shao teams, and I mean he could easily look not that impressive. Like all
Yeah,
the
but at
other,
least he
bunch of
has
other
a
hyper
lot of
carries.
like his AoE gives him a lot of utility, anyways, right?
But it used to give him anti-utility before.
That's not even
remember
true. Like that's actually just like nah.
No, but it was because do you remember at the end of 2.0 they changed a lot of enemies, so like the Rift Hounds, so that they wouldn't get staggered by Shao anymore. So there was a time when Shao would actually push the wolf, and
I mean,
those guys used to be in every single
I
abyss as well.
guess.
So there used to be a time every single abyss Shao would anti-group the wolves, which would completely grief you. And by the way, I mean, obviously this is speedrun related, but there still is some pretty good speedruns you can see of you a lot of time, but obviously that's speedruns.
Yeah.
But it does exist, so I mean, her damage can be good in certain situations. It's just, yeah, I don't know.
You know what I should do? I should level my Kave to 90 and get his normal attacks leveled. I should play Plunge Kave. So that's my next arc.
A buff that starts insanely high and makes shrapnel shoot outwards, doing AoE damage, but ramps down extremely quickly. I mean, I said it. I thought of like a copium a while ago. We did like a stream of thinking of like a Eula support, and like there's a lot of different ways you could do some. So you could have like a support which scales off of like the high. It's the same thing as Nahida's burst. So it scales off of like the highest character's physical damage bonus, and then you could do something with that, and then that could also incentivize people to get Eula's weapon. I guess
I think if they really wanted to make endless supports, the thing I could see the most easily is stuff like Lost Prayers on a character, like reward you for spending more time on field. Because of her backloaded damage profile.
Honestly, her physical damage, like if you're in Bennett's burst and you got superconduct and the boss, it's not even.
Yeah,
that
it's
bad.
not bad for sure, but like
It's
half
pretty
her
good.
damage is at the end, right?
Yeah, the instant burst or the burst cancelling out of her to burst quicker. I mean, anyway, I mean it's not a super hill. I'm like very passionate to die on, but yeah, I just think she is being held back by physical rather than physical being held back by Eula.
Yeah. I think there is a certain element to it, but I think even if they gave physical a lot of supports, they'd probably also release an actual decent physical carry.
Yeah, they would. I mean, it would be similar to Farazan, right? So when Farazan came out, like she was quite clearly like a juicing up Shao, and then they released Wanderer, who was
Yeah, but again,
more
like
balanced around that.
I don't know if that's a good comparison, because like Shao was better than Nilla. Like it's
I don't know about that. It is speed on wise. Xiao was actually pretty. It was actually not bad. Honestly, it was not bad. If you played like Xiao, Sucrose, Bennett, Xiangling, and you knew what you were doing, it wasn't bad. But he, I don't think he was bad, but I thought he got an insane buff with Forest, and I think that's more of my point.
Anyways, I should probably go. I'm getting pretty tired.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, that's fine.
But thank you for dropping by and thank you for the interesting discussion. Hog. Make sure
Yeah, I
you go
might-
check out jamiekb9v. If we can get a shout out in chat, that would be very pog. On Twitch
Thank
and
you.
on YouTube.